Hello, and welcome to Lights, Camera, Aggro, the podcast with two friends, one film, and very little agreement. I'm Phil, and it's showtime.
And I'm Nicky, and I myself am strange and unusual. This week it's Phil's turn to share a movie he loves, and today he's bought the 1988 film Beetlejuice.
All that will come soon enough, but first, how's your week been?
It's been okay. I had a bit of I made a schoolgirl error on Friday. So for a few weeks I've had a ticket to see Scream at my local Odeon, which is my local place I go. Scream, big fan of it. I'm sure at some point I may even talk about it on this pod. I never saw it at the cinema, so it's on, I guess, for Halloween month, whatever. So I was very excited. Bought it, paid for it, saved it in my wallet on my phone. It's been in my diary for a good few weeks. Turned up on Friday night and the guy tries to scam me in, and I have no idea why, but for some reason it wasn't the 3rd of October, it was for the 8th of October. I don't know why.
So you went
I just had
a
a completely and a different day. It's for a Wednesday.
Nice.
I have no idea why I got that wrong. I obviously just typed it in my diary at a random date, and that's what I've been sticking with.
Well,
so,
a 3 and an 8 can kind of look similar, and you do wear glasses, so well
I
done
do.
you.
No,
so
I
what
didn't.
did you watch instead?
I didn't. Well, I'd already bought me Diet Coke, so then I just walked back to the car and drove home with a £4.50 Diet Coke in my hand.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. I'm annoyed with myself. What about you?
So this week I've had bits of car trouble,
Lovely.
To say the least.
Classic.
And I went to the football yesterday and beat Crystal Palace 2-1.
Okay.
Really good game.
Okay.
Did a few videos for my YouTube channel.
Cool.
I've started up on my TikTok a little bit, doing some videos on my TikTok, which I never really bother with. So just trying to get myself out there a little bit more.
Excellent. Well, look out, world.
Yes.
Remember, before we're going to talk about this, there will be spoilers. If you haven't seen Beetlejuice yet, now is the time to pause the pod and come back when you're done. We'll be waiting. So Phil, why did you choose Beetlejuice?
Well, this was my second film where I came across Tim Burton.
Okay. Can I ask what the first was, just out of interest?
Yes, you can. It was also my first introduction to Michael Keaton, was Batman.
Oh, okay.
It was the original Batman movie.
Yeah.
I can't remember if this came out before Batman or after, but I seen Batman before Beetlejuice.
Okay.
And I really like the gothic kind of world that Tim Burton creates. I mean, it's October, so it's a little bit of a spooky one,
It
scary
feels
one.
the right vibes.
Yeah. But it's not a scary film. It's quite comedic. There's little bits of danger in there, but I just really like the vibe of this film. I like Michael Keaton's role, and he's hardly in the film.
I read 17 minutes.
Yeah, and it's a 90-minute movie, so he's hardly in there. But he, the role he plays and the way he plays it, he just stands out so much. It's really fun part for him. He must have had so much fun playing this. How about yourself?
So, as you know, I'm not really into the old horror thing, but you're right. This is comedic, and I like a comedy, so I can handle that. I'd never seen it until about 3 years ago, and I knew it was one of those things. It had a bit of a cult sort of following, and everyone some people really, really love it. I knew that. And I just had never got around to it. It was one of those that I hadn't just sort of deliberately ignored. I just hadn't got around to it. So it came on, again, my local Odeon, my trusty Odeon. It came on a few years ago for Halloween. I reckon it was about 3 years ago. Watched it for the first time. And I did enjoy it. I remember thinking it was quite funny, a bit dated in places, but fair play. It was from the 80s. But quite funny, and I enjoyed it. Then I had to watch it again for this pod. And I don't know. I wonder whether or not this is the type of... Well, we'll discuss it at the end. But I wonder whether or not this is the type of film that maybe doesn't bear over-analysis. I don't know. I really enjoyed it the first time. And the second time for this pod, there are good bits in it, and we'll talk about that. I just don't know whether or not it needs... I think too much introspection on it can maybe take away the silliness of it. I don't know. Well, we'll see what we'll come up with it, because there's bits to say.
We'll see where we go.
But yeah, I did enjoy it the first time I saw it.
The film starts off with the classic Tim Burton flyover.
Is that? I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, there's a couple of films he's done. In fact, I think, if I remember right, it was recently used in Wednesday. I think the first episode of Wednesday was very similar. But anyway, so it's a flyover of the town, and then we get to the house of Adam and Barb.
Yeah.
But as it goes closer to the house, it turns into a model that Adam's working on in the loft. And the parts of Adam and Barbara are played by Gina Davis, who I later discovered was a bit of a crush. Then, you know.
Oh, your crush?
Yeah, quite like.
Oh,
yeah.
the way you say you later discovered. You mean like when you're older than when you watch Beetlejuice?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Didn't understand that
Absolutely
phrasing.
Beautiful Gina Davis.
Oh, she's brilliant.
And Alec Baldwin.
Yes.
Yeah, a very, very young Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
So they're in the loft of their home where he's messing around with this model. And I will say, their house is amazing. It's huge. When you see the outside of it, it's very gothic looking, but it's not painted gothic in any way. It's white, it's bright, lovely wooden house on the top of a hilltop.
There's something about the style of it as well, though, isn't it? Even though it's all white, it definitely feels. The town feels slightly eerie.
Yeah.
There's something of the undead about it.
It's Tim Burton, isn't
well,
it?
Exactly.
It makes it feel that way. Their nosy neighbour comes over.
The real estate woman.
To inform them they have an offer for their house. I am sure the offer was in the region of like $250,000 or something like that. I mean, this is 1988. That's huge sums.
And it's someone from New York who's willing to pay it, so it's implied that it's some mega guy. It's the guy who ultimately buys, isn't it?
And the real estate agent, she seems very excited to sell the house, but they say no, they don't want to sell.
The house is not up for sale.
Yeah.
She's awful.
Yeah.
She says, it's too big for you. It should be someone with children. What an awful thing to say to somebody about their own home.
Yeah.
Anyway, hated her.
So she buggers off, and then they decide to go out for a drive. They go to the town where I think he buys model paint, and it basically just shows the town. The popular people, everybody's hi.
They own the hardware store. It's the Maitlands.
Yeah, and everyone's like hi, how you doing, that kind of thing. Just shows they're a nice couple and people like them. On the way back, driving back, there is a dog in the middle of the road. As they cross the bridge, the car veers to the left, I believe, and then into the water.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The car submerges.
It's horrible. Yeah. I mean, it happens really early on, so obviously it's not like we got to know these people so well and then they die. I mean, they die really early, but even so.
Well, at this moment, you still don't know they're dead because they walk into the house covered in water, soaking. And they're like, oh, this just something feels off, something feels strange. So they start to walk around the house. They notice someone's off, and they notice a book called The Recently Deceased.
But yeah, they see that they can't be seen in the mirror and all that stuff. There's a whole bunch of weird things. Gina Davis's fingers are on fire.
Yeah,
I mean
that's a bit odd.
We get the glimpse here that maybe something's not right.
Yeah. So Adam tries to leave the house, and then suddenly in the middle of a desert.
Yeah.
And there's worms. I mean, the claymation, quite good. These like worms that look like snakes head towards him, so he jumps back into the house. When Barbara says, "Where did you go? I couldn't see you." So they realise at this point,
it didn't survive the crash.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it now, and I'm sure it'll come up a few times. I really struggle with I don't really get fantasy. I'm really happy for people who do. This is no judgment on anyone else. My personal thing is when things start going off in the realm of not real or not able to realistically happen, I struggle. Now, I don't mind the tale so far of where these two people have come back and they're dead and this is now going to be them as ghosts. I don't mind that because it feels realistic, because they look real and they live in a house and there's going to be stuff with the new owners, and I all that story I'm into. When he walks out and it's all animated stuff, nope, not for me, no. So I just have to I still want to watch the film, but those bits don't do anything for me.
So they're trying to figure out that are they halfway between heaven and hell because they're just back in their own house.
And they try to flick through the handbook for the recently deceased and don't really get into it, which feels like the first mistake. Surely they would read that from cover to...
She's asking for certain sets of instructions.
I feel like they just flicked through the handbook for the recently deceased, and surely they would pick it up and read it from cover to cover. Because surely, I don't understand why they didn't.
Do you think I'd pick up a book and read the cover to cover?
Oh my God, absolutely not. No.
Well, there you go.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, there you go. So after that, we get our first shot of Beetlejuice. And it's over the shoulder. He's sat in a chair, and he's got like what looks like a newspaper, and he's looking at the deceased
The obituaries.
Yeah, and
Deceased
yeah.
All the obits.
Would you call it obituaries? He's trying to look for work.
Yeah,
so,
but they're still the obit. I mean, Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin aren't advertising for him. He's just
Anyway, he spots them and he makes the comment, they look a bit dumb, I'll target them.
Yeah.
So while they're upstairs, they're sleeping, they hear a disturbance. It's a bit like an earthquake, something's going on, and it's a new family's moved in.
Oh, okay, the Deetzes.
Yes. I think, would this be my first introduction to Catherine O'Hara?
Possibly.
Yeah,
I mean, she's been around, but...
Pre-Home Alone, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this is my first introduction
stuff,
to her.
But you wouldn't, my queen.
Absolutely
I love her.
Yeah, amazing. Not good at looking after kids, obviously, but yeah,
She's
absolutely amazing. And in this, her role, subdued but great.
Subdued?
Yeah, because she's not as flamboyant as she can be.
Oh, but she's quite quirky in this.
Yeah, no, she's very quirky, but
the character, Delia.
Yeah, but she's brilliant.
Are we going to mention the elephant in the room without mentioning?
I'll read my notes.
Okay.
The mum's Catherine O'Hara, daughter Lydia is Winona Ryder, and the less said about the dad, the better.
Oh, that's funny because can I read my notes?
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara, my queen, arrives. She's Delia. She's married to Ed Rooney from Ferris Bueller, and the less we say about him, the better. Hysterical.
High five for that one. So
that's hysterical. Okay, I've been calling him Ed Rooney all the way through, or the husband. So I think that's the best.
Right, yeah, we'll just call him the husband.
The husband. Okay.
And then comes Otho.
Yeah.
Is he like the spiritual guy, decorator?
He's like a bestie who's hanging on, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's giving what's the word? Decorating tips and spray painting the walls.
Yeah, and going, oh, I thought of that exactly as well.
Yeah. He's really irritating.
Yeah, he is really. He looks like somebody who was probably just a hanger on because they've got lots of money.
Absolutely. And she loves it.
Yeah. He comes across as a really, really strange guy to me.
I also made the point here, and it's sort of coming through all the time. Winona Ryder in the 90s did some brilliant weird teens. She'd played that disaffected gothic youth so well. Because I hadn't seen this, but I did see Heathers.
Yeah.
And Heathers I thought was brilliant. And Edward Scissorhands.
Well, I seen Edward Scissorhands after this.
Right.
So yeah,
it does feel absolutely right that Jenna Ortega is like her natural successor, and I know she played her daughter in the sequel, but like even so, the Wednesday stuff, and she's just got that vibe. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So they basically start to design to redecorate the house. They decide that they want to look around the house, pulling all sorts of doors open and stuff. They open one cupboard and Barbara's hanging in there to try and scare them, but they don't see her. Yeah, they don't see her.
It is all both.
Yeah. So they go to what I would think was the study, and they open the door and Barbara stood there holding Adam's head and Adam's body's on the floor.
Yeah.
Again, still don't see them. So they decide to go up to the attic, which Adam panics, runs up and closes the door. They see the door close and think it's just the wind, and they just leave it and go back to it. So there's lots of reconstruction going on in the house, and they're really annoyed. They try to leave, and they end up in the desert again. They end up lost, and they come back in.
Desertscape, animated sort of weird place.
They come back in, but when they come back in, they find a leaflet in the house for Beetlejuice.
Yeah, it falls out of the recently deceased book.
Yes, which it was never there before.
No.
So Lydia starts taking photos, and she spots out of the outside of the house, and she spots the Maitlands in the window.
Yes. And it's quite that has the potential to be quite creepy and spooky.
Well, she's very gothic, isn't she?
She's brilliant.
The way she dresses and everything. So
her whole life is a dark room.
Yeah, exactly. Does she quote that at one point?
She does, yeah. When he says, "I'll build you a dark room," and she's like, "My whole life is a dark room." And she has a massive. When they have like the first evening meal, she has a massive, like wide-brimmed black hat with black veil just for dinner. It's just brilliant.
So they realise that she's seen them.
Yeah.
Adam and Barbara, and she starts to head up to the attic, and suddenly on the TV up there, an advert for Beetlejuice comes on. He's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we can talk about him now if you want.
We can't. Well, he's basically trying to sell himself like a car salesman.
Yes.
And he's being like a cowboy, pretending to ride a horse across. Yeah. Basically, you can tell he's in the model.
So you're right about like this is an amazing performance by Michael Keaton, and I think you said it was your first Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
So I obviously only saw this a few years ago, although I was aware of him obviously being Beetlejuice. My first Michael Keaton was Mr. Mum.
Right.
Have you ever seen that?
Never seen that.
I mean, I'm not going to reckon it. Basically, it's one of those 80s films where like I can't even remember the setup where for some reason the mum isn't looking after the kids. So, oh my God, the dad has to. You know, like three men and a little lady. It's like, oh my God, men looking after children? Whatever next? So it's one of them films.
Great 80s comedy.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember watching that. So, yeah, he was. I assume that would have been either around this. It was the 80s, I don't know. My point is, this is a very, very good performance. It's very out there. It's different from my first experience with Michael Keaton, which was Mr. Mum. I just don't like Beetlejuice, the character. I just think he's a dickhead.
You're not meant to like
I know we're not meant to, but my point is, I just prefer the scenes where he's not there.
Yeah.
He definitely... I looked up when did Jim Carrey first become famous, because it feels like Jim Carrey's ripped off this whole, you know, like Ace Ventura, that kind of
interesting.
And that's what immediately brought to my mind. And I think this was before Jim Carrey started doing his, well, certainly before Ace Ventura. I don't know whether or not Jim Carrey was doing stand-up long before. I don't know the timeline of all of it. But it definitely put me in mind of that. I was happy when he wasn't on the screen. And as I said, I read that he's only on screen 17 minutes. So actually that's fine, because that's not very much. And you're right, he does dominate. He does really kind of, you know, the whole thing is called after him. I mean, you're right, the whole thing is named after him. But for me, I wasn't bothered.
Fair play. I've put down he's a bit odd.
Just to sum it up.
Yeah, just a bit odd, but entertaining.
Yeah.
So Lydia gets to the top of the stairs and she's got a skeleton key that'll open every door in the house, which, is there actually a thing as a skeleton key like that? Or is it just a movie trope?
Okay, I mean, skeleton keys exist, but I don't know if people have them for their houses. I don't know.
Yeah, well, anyway, the Maitlands, they push the key back out the door, so she realises that there is something up there.
Yeah.
So they start to panic and they decide what to do. So they follow the instructions from the book and draw a door on the wall. Mm-hmm. The door opens and they're into...
Purgatory? Limbo?
It looks like the civil service. But
what's it meant to be?
Yeah.
It's not heaven, is it?
No.
It's not hell.
No, it's in between, isn't it?
Waiting room.
Yeah. And there's lots of different types of dead people waiting. There's a guy with a shrunken head. There's a lady who's been cut in half. Yeah. And her legs are sat next to her. And comedy scene with a load of American footballers.
That's later on, but that is one of my favourite scenes.
Yeah.
I think that is hysterical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have to take a seat and they wait a bit, and then a guy comes. I've called him Roadkill Guy.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's basically
Very flat.
And he's hung up. He takes them towards...
Feeling a bit flat today.
Yeah, feeling a bit flat today. Bad dad jokes.
Yeah.
So he takes them towards their caseworker, Juno. Yeah.
She's brilliant.
He goes through a slot in the wall, which I thought was quite funny as well. But Juno, who's the actress who plays it, do you know?
It is Sylvia Sidney.
Right.
And I got a bit obsessed with her because I think she steals every scene she's in.
Oh, she's brilliant, totally brilliant.
And I was looking at, so she died like a few years after Beetlejuice, but she's got a load of IMDb credits. And the first one is 1926.
Wow.
So, I mean, this was 1980 odd, and this was towards the end of her career, but she had a very long acting career. And so, I mean, I don't know who she is, because when you look at the stuff she's done, it's not stuff I've watched particularly, but it is full. You know, she's had a full old CV. And yeah, I think any scene she's in, I wanted more of her. I think she's 2 scenes.
Yeah.
I want loads more of her. She was brilliant, and I loved her. I don't know, the stuff with the American footballers was really funny. I'm not your coach.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
She's great. Yeah.
Well, she walks them through a door, and they go, this place just gets weirder and weirder. And when they look around, they go, this is our house.
Yes.
They've been gone a while.
3 months.
Yeah. And
The Deetzes.
yeah,
Yes, the Deetz family.
Remodeled the whole house. It's very gothic looking inside.
Well, it's just
except for the study,
weird and creepy.
Because the husband didn't want the study to be changed.
Yeah. It's Delia Deetz is an artist. She's a sculptor. No, a sculptress.
Yeah.
Sculptor. Yeah. Oh, I don't know what that word is. The stuff she brings in, it does put you in mind of. Do you remember Day of the Triffids?
Yeah.
There was like massive big flowers that sort of took over. It was on when I was too little to watch it, but I just remember my mum's friend who used to have. So okay, this is an aside. My mum's uni mate, who's like one of the family friends, back when this was on Day of the Triffids, and I would have been about 3 or 4. So it's very early 80s. He used to live with a landlady because he was a young guy, because my mum was young. And she wouldn't let him watch Day of the Triffids, or he couldn't watch Day of the Triffids because he didn't have his own telly. It was her telly, so he used to come round to our house to watch Day of the Triffids every week. So all I knew was I'd say hello to him, and then I'd be sent up to bed because it was not suitable for me.
Right, fair play.
Anyway, it reminded me of Day of the Triffids. It reminded me of these big, awful, grotesque, oversized flowers.
Yeah.
That's her style, and that whole vibe is exactly what this film is like.
Yeah. So Juno tells them off for trying to scare the Deetzes off. And she warns them off Beetlejuice.
Yeah, he's been sleazing around the cemetery of the model village. That's what she says.
Yeah.
Sleazing around the cemetery sums it up brilliantly.
Yeah. And with Beetlejuice, you have to call his name 3 times to summon him.
Yeah.
He's been delivered in the cemetery of the model, as you say. So the Maitlands come up with another idea, and they put sheets over the heads and try to scare Lydia. She takes photos, thinking it's her mum and dad.
Oh, is that what she thought?
Yeah, and she says, your weird sex games keep in the bedroom. And then she looks at the photograph and there's no feet. And that's when she realises it's Adam and Barb. Lydia tells her mum that she's seen ghosts, but her mum's only interested in the dinner party.
Yeah, they're trying to schmooze investors to, like, I don't know, buy. The guy, the husband, he's buy his property. He wants to kind of create a sort of a new village. He's talking about the different things he can buy and sell. Yeah, it's basically very 80s yuppie kind of property expansion stuff, isn't it?
The Maitlands notice a flashing light on the model and say Beetlejuice 3 times and are transported into the model.
Because they're desperate at this point, because they really need these people to go out of their home.
Yeah. They have to dig down. This made me laugh. So they dig down like to get basically to his coffin. But,
yeah, they have to.
But it's funny because it's like rubber mat off the model and things, and cardboard and things like that. So I thought that was done quite well. So they get to the coffin, and next thing, he flies out of the coffin into the air and is loud and brash.
And this is where I said, is this a Jim Carrey? Well, not Jim. I know he didn't nick Jim Carrey's act, but did Jim Carrey nick this act?
Yeah.
This is where I first thought, oh, hang on, you know.
Yeah, he then kisses Barb.
Yeah. He's such a perv.
And then says to Adam, how solid is this? Have I got any chance for that?
Literally makes me want to vomit, this guy.
Yeah, but I've put Keaton is brilliant in the role. He does the role really, really well. And the other thing I noticed for the first time, when you look at Michael Keaton next to Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, he looks really small.
Yeah, he's not massively tall, is he? I don't know.
Yeah, but I thought Batman was tall, so... yeah,
because you watched it when you were 7 or something.
No, I'm not talking Adam West here. I'm talking when I seen Batman. I didn't realise he was as small as he was.
Yeah.
They asked what qualifications, and if this actually made me laugh, what his qualifications were to help get rid of the family. And he says he'd watched The Exorcist 167 times and it keeps getting funnier every time he watches it. So they turn him down, and Barbara says home 3 times and leaves him in the model.
At this point, we should also say that Lydia and Barbara and Adam have had conversations. After they sort of pulled the sheets off their head. Yeah. Like Lydia said, she's basically read the book for the recently deceased. She's read it, so they're kind of chatting, and they get on. Yeah, they get on. It's nice.
They don't dislike Lydia.
Yeah, Lydia's all right. Yeah.
So now we get to the dinner party, and they come up with an idea to try and scare them off.
The family off.
Yeah, the family off. and they possess the mum.
Well, they possess. Is that the right phrase?
I
don't know. Yeah, but they make
sing.
Everyone sing and dance.
What's the song? Do you know the song?
Deo, the banana boat song.
Right. And this is a really fun sequence.
It's brilliant.
It's meant to scare them, but they absolutely love it.
And if it wasn't Catherine O'Hara, I don't think it would be as funny. She absolutely nails this scene.
Yeah.
This is why I like her as an actress. She has no problem looking silly.
Yeah.
She has no problem doing absurd things for the comedic punchline. And she throws herself into this. She's brilliant. And everyone else around the table follows, but she is the one that has to start this off, and she's the one that clearly is brilliant at this.
Yeah. And it's funny. And it ends with what look like prawn hands grabbing the faces and stuff.
I think, they're really gross.
Yeah. And that's it. It didn't scare them. They absolutely loved it.
It's the latest thing to have at your dinner parties.
Exactly. And they want to meet Adam and Barb. Adam and Barb say no. So the Deetzes and Otho gain access to the loft for the first time. Otho takes the book.
What a little thief.
Well,
he's horrible.
Yeah.
It's not his. He's such a chancer.
Yeah. So he goes for Lydia and Barbara. As they're leaving the attic, Beetlejuice turns the banister into a snake version of himself.
Yeah.
And scares the life out of them. He goes for Lydia and Barbara says his name 3 times to get rid of him. He's back in the model now, arguing with them. And then Juno, the caseworker, puts a brothel in the middle of the model. Bob goes to him, when did that get there? And he goes, not me. And then Beetlejuice dances up the street. He does this like funny shuffle dance to basically the escorts, we call them in there.
Sex workers?
Sex workers, yeah. But undead sex workers. Well, dead sex workers.
They're definitely dead.
Yeah.
But Juno's fuming because Adam and Barbara have let the book be stolen, and they got Beetlejuice back in the scene, and all, so that she's not happy with them. And this is when it's the American footballers that around and go, Coach, what's up, Coach?
And she goes, I'm not your coach.
Coach, I think we might be dead.
Yeah. But I think it's worth looking in the background at different things here, and
the purgatory scene all the scenes are very funny because of all the stuff they put in.
Yeah, it's done really well. And she says she wants the family out now. Because they've got this book, she wants the family out.
Yeah.
Don't use cheap parlour tricks. And before she sends them back, she goes, show me what you can do. Mm-hmm. And they both mould their faces and heads into these grotesque...
Yeah, like a big weird bird. Was it... There used to be... Oh, I don't know my history about this particular thing, but wasn't that like a kind of mask that doctors used to have over the...
Yeah,
I don't know.
And they pull the tongue out, the eyes on top
eyeballs
of the tongue and stuff.
It's all a bit Monty Python, that. You know, the animations with the eyeballs, that reminded me of that.
So they walk back into the house. As they're walking into the house, Lydia is talking to Beetlejuice for the first time.
So he interrupted her writing her suicide note.
Yes.
So she's so relatable for a teenage girl.
She wants to be with
them because they're the only people that understand her, listen to her.
Yeah.
They're the parents she needs. And her own parents, and it's her dad and her stepmom, obviously just don't care what she's doing. Yeah. They're all very wrapped up in their own little worlds. So yeah, she's found a family basically. And so it's all this is quite a poignant storyline. And we also had the little bit at the beginning where that awful estate agent turns up going, this house should be for someone with kids, and Gina Davis's face, Barbara's face just falls because it's clear that sort of was the plan, and it hasn't happened yet. So this is a poignant part of this. You know, there's a bit of heart here amidst the silly comedy nonsense. You know, it's a bit of a balance.
So yeah, it was good. She's about to say Beetlejuice 3 times. And Barb stops her, she turns around and sees Barb with her weird head, screams, and then Barb re-pushes it back together, but Adam's struggling to get his head back to normal. And he said, don't summon Hermes, bad news, blah, blah, blah.
That's a great phrase to put into a podcast where we're giving all the intricate details.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, you know, they talk to her and they say, being dead is no better than living. The dad and Otho want the model, so they come up and move it downstairs. The dad now is trying to sell the town as a paranormal place.
He's just he's constantly looking for the next big kind of money-making scheme. And I think the whole plot of, I mean, again, as we said, less said about him the better, but in terms of the character, I think the whole idea is he's sort of had a burnout breakdown thing in New York, and he's supposed to be here to relax, but he obviously isn't. He's still thinking about every single opportunity he can do.
Yeah, so he's trying to sell this to this guy and woman and stuff.
Yeah, his potential investors.
Yeah. And all they're interested in is meeting the ghosts.
Yeah.
So they go around the table, which it's a bit like a seance.
It's a seance, because Otho has taken charge.
Yeah, because Otho's read the book.
Yeah.
And he says they need some items of the dead, and it appears to be their wedding clothes.
Yeah,
incredibly
creepy.
Yeah, wedding dress. And he starts to mutter, basically gobbledygook.
He summons them.
Yeah. Barbara appears first, but then rapidly starts to age.
Yeah.
Lydia's saying, stop it. And then Adam runs in the room, but then he starts to disappear and then appear in his wedding suit, and he ages too.
It's properly gross as well. It's a real sort of visibly shriveling, drying, the lines on the face getting more and more etched, their eyes getting more sunken in. And then when he holds her hand starts to crumble because it's so like, I don't know, it's like made of dust at this point.
Yeah. So Lydia summons Beetlejuice
For help.
And he says he wants something back. If you're going to summon me to help, I want to be permanently back, and to be permanently back, me and you have got to get married.
Gross. She is described repeatedly by Barbara as a little girl. It's proper pedo behaviour. It's horrible. Horrible.
Well, he's meant to be horrible.
He is, but it's just, I don't know, I feel like... Yeah. If we're supposed to see him as a bit like comedically amusing, that feels less comedically amusing than it could if it was just something else. But anyway, it's of its time.
So she says Beetlejuice 3 times. He appears coming out of the model with like a carousel hat on.
Okay.
Like a fairground. And, you know, it's showtime is his line. He then unrolls his arms to hammers, and the 2 guests are on like a hammer fairground thing where you hit it and it dings the bell, but he hits it and they go through the roof and they are gone.
Okay.
So now it's just the family, the Maitlands, and him. Yes. So he now tries to rush the wedding. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So he gets what's the one called again?
Delia.
He gets Delia's sculptures to imprison the husband and Delia. So they have to be the witnesses. A door appears in the wall, and this thing, I'll just call it a thing, comes out to marry them. And suddenly Lydia's got a red wedding dress on. Appears in this red wedding dress. And she's trying to get out of it every which way, and he's trying to silence her. At one point he puts his hand over her mouth and then speaks in her voice to try and get it through. At this time, Adam and Barbara are starting to come back to themselves, and they're going over, and Adam starts to say Beetlejuice, and he miniaturizes him into the model.
He throws his teeth out as well.
Yeah, he throws his teeth out.
He does everything to stop them saying his name 3 times.
Miniaturise him in the model, so Adam gets into the car and starts driving this miniaturised car across the model, which I thought was quite funny. And then Barbara is starting to say Beetlejuice, and he puts a zip over her mouth. And then she unzips it. She unzips it and says it. And he goes, ah. So he banishes her to the desert.
He puts a metal plate over her mouth there.
And then banishes her to the desert. Adam then jumps off the model and hits Beetlejuice in the foot. And the next thing, Barbara comes smashing through the wall on top of one of the worms, who eats Beetlejuice, and he's gone, all sorted.
Yeah, I hated that scene. I just thought it's too grim. Anyway, it's over.
So then, flash forward a month or 2 maybe.
Who knows? Yeah.
We're seeing Lydia in school. She's not dressed as a goth. She's still got the short fringe, still looks cool as anything. And she's dead excited to come back. And as she comes back, Adam says, "Have you got me the paint? You got me the paint?" She's got the paint, and he says, "So how did you do?" And she pulls a bit of her face, and he goes, "We've worked on this maths for so long." And she said, "I'm only joking. I've got an A."
Yeah, they're helping her with homework and school stuff. They are the parents she's always needed.
Yeah. And they start the song. Do you know what this song was called?
I can sing it, but I can't remember the name of it. I'm not going to sing it. But yeah, I know it's playing in my head as we speak.
Yeah, I've been dancing to it for about 5 minutes.
It's more calypso.
It cuts to the husband in his study going,
the Deetzes.
Yeah. And he says, "Oh, she must have got an A in her maths." And next thing, Beetlejuice's head appears. And he falls off his chair, and Delia's made a sculpture of Beetlejuice's head as a snake. Mm-hmm. Then we cut to Lydia, who's dancing. She's in the air, hovering. They're making a dance. Everyone's happy and stuff. And then I thought this was the end, and I forgot. It cuts to Beetlejuice in Purgatory. In the waiting room. And it's like 3 millionth in the queue, and the guy next to him is like third or something like that. So he rubs his ticket by going, "Hey, there's Elvis." And that was my great impression of Beetlejuice.
I don't know if Michael Keaton will sue you now for that, but...
Well, it sounded exactly like him. And then the guy sprinkles some dust on his head, and then his head shrinks.
Yeah.
The end.
I mean, it's good to see that they keep up Beetlejuice touching up the woman who's been sawn in half in the last scene, you know.
Yeah, I'll cut that out.
Yeah.
So, what did you think?
So, like I said, I enjoyed this the first time I watched it. The only time I'd watched it before this week. And thought it was silly and fun and daft and like a classic 80s comedy, you know, screwball, eerie, weird, funny, daft. I didn't enjoy watching it as much for this pod. And I think that's because I couldn't just let it wash over me. I had to actually pay attention and I had to actually make notes. I definitely dislike Beetlejuice, the character. And I know you're right. We're meant to. He's not meant to be a nice person. But I don't find him annoyingly funny or, you know, charmingly mad. I just find him gross. And so I did... And then the last scene where it's like he's basically trying to force Lydia to... Well, he is trying to force Lydia to marry him, which is effectively rape. I don't think that's as funny as it could have been. It could have been like he was going to force... I don't know. I just wish that hadn't... It just made me feel gross at the end. So I don't like him. But like you say, we're not meant to. I did enjoy it in lots of different places, and I think I wrote a list of my likes and dislikes just at a bullet point. So,
of course you did.
Well, I knew that I had mixed feelings. I wanted to sort of separate them out. So my dislikes, I'm not into horror, so the sequences with the weird animation turned me off. I didn't relish the oddness. Some people absolutely love the oddness. Some people, October is their month for all things like dark and creepy. It's not me, but that's fine. And then again, Beetlejuice is awful. The likes, so I really like the early stuff. So where Alec and Gina, I keep calling them Alec and Gina, so I'll call them Adam and Barbara. When they first have to navigate life as dead people, I mean, that movie, I would watch that movie, where that's just them having to kind of work out how to go about their life and what to do and how to get things sorted. I think Lydia is an excellent troubled teen and really relatable. I always liked Winona Ryder when I was a teenager. I felt that she was someone I wanted to look like, be like. I was never particularly gothic, but definitely that kind of... troubled, angsty vibe I really appreciated. Gina was brilliant. I wanted loads more of her. I've said it already, but the scenes of the footballers, spot on. And then Catherine O'Hara rocked. And she's just really good at oddball fashionistas. Did you ever watch Schitt's Creek?
Never seen it.
Oh, geez, okay, right.
I know she's brilliant.
She's brilliant in it, but the character she plays in that, Moira Rose, it's almost like the kind of... a cousin of Delia Deetz, a cousin. You know, there's the scene in this where she's sitting at the dinner table and she's wearing like a glove as a hat. Did you see that? It sort of looks like it's feathers. She's wearing like a headpiece, but it's actually a glove.
Yeah.
And Moira Rose used to have all sorts of like hair pieces and wigs. And at one point in one scene, she's just wearing one wig on top of the other. One's brunette and one is like blonde. And it's just she's just an oddball fashionista. Yeah. I love that she plays these really quirky characters, and it does make me laugh. The first thing I ever saw her in was Home Alone. What a tame, sedate character that is for her to play. Yeah. She could have ripped that part and done all sorts with it. And anyway, I hope it's given her loads of money over the years because she deserves it. But it's really interesting that, you know, she does these characters really, really well. So that's what I thought about that. There's a few things, so I remember when the sequel came out, or was coming out.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice. And there was a whole bunch of discussion online that I saw where people were like, I hope they don't bring back the shrunken head guy, because that was really racist. And I don't know enough about that, so I did a bit of Googling, and I think the issue is, this is a real sort of, they've kind of made a punchline or a comedy character out of a practice that was very related to specific groups of people historically. And whereas you wouldn't sort of pick, you wouldn't sort of make any sort of joke, joke character out of cultures that you know more about. This is a culture that has sort of just been used for a punchline. So I did read again about that this week, and yeah, it's sort of, people are uncomfortable with that. Mm-hmm. But in 1988, no one gave a shit.
But one of the things that, you know, while we're on this subject, one of the things that's often picked out about Tim Burton movies, he doesn't have any black characters in his films. Oh. Yeah, often pointed out.
Oh, that's interesting now to see, because you said this was your first Tim Burton. Is that what you said?
Second.
Second, sorry. It was all those minutes ago when we were talking about this at the beginning. I'm not a Tim Burton fan. And I don't mean, I hate all Tim Burton films. It's just not somebody I flock to see. I must have seen some things he's done. I tell you what I did see that I think was him, or he was involved, what was it called? Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, I think he had a little bit of involvement.
I don't think he directed. I think he might have produced it. Yeah. I watched that, and I quite enjoyed it because I did American studies at uni.
It's this is the second time you brought this up, and this is a strange film for you to actually like.
It is true. Well, because my cousins were staying with me, and they really liked Tim Burton, so they were like, "Oh, it's out. Can we watch it?" So we went, and I did enjoy it. But I would never have gone to see that if they hadn't sort of suggested it. It wouldn't be on my radar. I don't know what other Tim Burton things I would have seen.
Now, interesting, while we're on this subject now, you brought up Beetlejuice. I can't remember anything from the sequel. I can remember this film quite a lot, you know, but I can't remember the sequel. So was it not as good? I mean...
It was only a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is a film where I don't think it needs a sequel. I know you're not a fan of sequels, but some films I think, you know, fairly decent with sequels. But this, it was the story told, and that was the end. It should have been, that was the end of Beetlejuice, and that was it. If I remember right, I think the sequel was okay, from recollection, but I just do not remember anything from it.
It's funny that you said that, because, like I said, I watched this for the first time about 3 years ago during Halloween, and then, so it was maybe a year before the sequel came out, and I went to see the sequel, because I thought, well, I've seen Beetlejuice. Yeah. And I watched the sequel, and I have a couple of memories from it. But again, because of watching this now, I'm like, oh, I really do need to watch that sequel again now to remember how it all fits together. Because I don't remember it either. I remember, like, Jenna Ortega and thinking that she was really well cast.
See, I can't remember the Jenna Ortega being in it.
Yeah, she was in it. But I also remember, I remember thinking, how are they going to do this with the husband?
Yeah.
So they kill him off, and they do it quite spectacularly.
Yeah, it's really done well.
It's not,
I do remember that as an animated sequence.
Yeah, I like how they do it, and it's not kind of, oh god, we'll just never mention him. They make sure that character is properly ended.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to watch it again
because it's harder in the sequel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she's in it.
This is how little I remember from it, you know, which is bizarre. I remember the animated sequence, and that's about it. So I might revisit that at some point.
I think I'm going to, which is mad, because again, this is not my world, but yeah, I feel like that's where we are. So there's a couple of things that I picked up just as we went through that I didn't sort of jump in with. Did you? Well, you will, of course, you'll have spotted this, but this sort of blew my mind. Again, this is not my world, so these things stand out to me, whereas you probably know these stuff already. Literally, the opening titles, the opening things that come on, it says The Geffen Company Presents.
Yeah.
And it's in the font that Stranger Things used. Have I made that up? Now, can I say, Stranger Things, again, not my vibe, and yet my cousins were staying with me and really wants to watch it. This is going back to like when the first series came out. And I did watch the first series with them, and I did really enjoy it. Again, I would never have watched it had they not been saying, shall we watch this?
But you like the 80s vibe?
I loved the 80s vibe. And that's why I think I watched the first series with them, and then when the second and third came out, I think I did watch that, but quite quickly after the first series, the 80s vibe felt like it was taken over by horror, and I'm not that person, so I've never watched the end of it, put it that way. I don't know what happens at the end, and I'm not bothered by that.
Well, it's the final series is out.
Oh, is December. It still going?
Last series, 5 series there is.
Oh, I thought
but they're taking about 2 years to film.
I know, I just thought the last one was done. Anyway, okay. But the point is, the font of the opening titles of Beetlejuice is the spitting image of the font that they use.
Didn't notice.
So you will have a look, because unless I've just dreamt it, but I thought, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know there was that link. So that stood out to me.
It might be just a classic Gothic.
Yeah, you would see what you think if you have a look at him. And then the other thing that I spotted again in the opening titles was Danny Elfman did the music.
Yeah, I knew Danny Elfman.
So I just think it's really recognisable. You know, like the opening music is maybe it's when you were talking about.
It's a Tim Burton collab. They do a lot together.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just know from The Simpsons, you see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You see, these things I don't know. So when I saw it was him, I was like, oh, he did The Simpsons music. And then as you see that sort of shot of the going over the town at the beginning, it does sound like, oh yeah, that's the guy who wrote The Simpsons. I can hear the sounds, you know. Other than that, what I did do, again, because I do this all the time, I got onto Google Maps and I dragged that little yellow figure all over the town where this was filmed.
Yeah.
It's called East Corinth in Vermont. And when you do, and you sort of go, it's small, you know. When you go and look, it does look exactly the same as a Beetlejuice. It's like all these sort of standalone white, sort of wooden boarded buildings dotted about a main road going through. It's really interesting. No, it's not changed. It's not changed.
It's a small town, isn't it? But,
I
but also, I would imagine that'd be a tourist thing now because of that.
Or when you look on Google Maps on the actual map, it does say like some like Beetlejuice location or something.
Yeah.
But it looks really small and cute. But yeah, that made me laugh. So I had a look, as you know I always do, at stuff other people say, just to see what the vibe is. So I found a few pieces that were quite interesting, and I don't know any of this stuff, so I'm going to see. So I found a blog post called consequence.net, and this was about how basically Beetlejuice in the first write of it, the first script of it, before it all got rewritten and changed, this was supposed to be a straight-up horror. This wasn't supposed to be comedic.
Yeah, I knew that was supposed to be a horror.
Yeah, so all of the quirkiness and the campness and the silly stuff came in the rewrites. So in the original, the drowning scene went on for ages, and you saw them, and it was really grim. And I thought that it was pretty grim in this, just the fact it was so clear that something
you see
bad
the car just sink, and then it cuts to them.
But it was the fact that you saw the dog on the plank, and you saw them see the dog on the plank, so they know if that dog moves, they're a goner. So they know before they go it's horrible. Also, Beetlejuice was intent on murdering the Deetzes, not scaring them. So there was a sort of a darker thing going on there.
Right, okay.
And then he was also intent on raping Lydia, which I think is implied in the fact he's trying to force her to marry him. But there was clear sexual assault intent. And yeah, like I say, she keeps getting described as a little girl, so that's so horrible. But the other thing I read, and this was more of this was a blog by Aisling Walsh, and it was a post that talks about the lure of the 90s goth girl as epitomised by Winona Ryder. So I'm going to read a quote because I don't know, I wasn't a goth, but I really felt like this spoke to me. Lydia is serious and morbid in a way only teenage girls of a certain disposition can aspire to, cultivating an air of tragedy despite her obvious privilege. She's an anomaly in a family made up of an investor father who can't quite shake the hustle, despite the country surrounds, and an elitist stepmother who wants to turn the Maitlands cottage core into a late 80s avant-garde horror show. You could write Lydia off as insufferable and pretentious, but her teenage ennui captured my own sense of disconnect and despair with the world around me like few other fictional characters. I was so uncomfortable in my own skin with other people that the existence of characters like Lydia Deetz on screen and the fact that they were celebrated helped me feel a little less alone in my condition as school and village freak. And I was like, oh God, yeah, that nails that sort of teenage angsty, I don't feel like me, who am I, what do I want, the world, I hate the world hates me. I loved that recognition that Lydia as a character is cool, she's cool at all that, and she can be an aspirational person. Did you get any of that as a boy watching it, or were you not kind of lost?
I was regardless.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't relate to her though, because
I was never that bad.
Related to Beetlejuice.
No, I didn't relate to him either.
Good.
But good film, really good film. I think I've watched this multiple times. It's one of those films, if we're switching through the channels, I will stop if it's on, you know. How about yourself? Would you rewatch this again, or are
Not
you done
for a
with
long
this?
time, not for ages. I've seen it now a lot. I've seen it twice this week for this pod, and I am happy to leave it be. But like I said, I am now interested in watching the sequel again, just to see what they'd. I think because I now have seen this film and know the detail a lot more. It'll be interesting to see the detail that they replicate and pop up in the sequel, which would have gone over my head the first time.
I'm feeling that vibe as well.
Yeah. And then I found a Screen Rant blog post, which was again about a review about the 88 film. Trouble with trying to find stuff online is the minute you type Beetlejuice in, it's all the sequel stuff.
Yeah.
Because obviously in 1988 there wasn't the internet, and now there's everything on the internet. So it was a struggle to find bits, but yeah. In 1988 there was this review, and again all this will be in the show notes. It said it's not a particularly scary movie, which I agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Burton never really wades that far into horror territory. Instead, Beetlejuice is weird and unsettling. Everything that's presented as odd tends to be consciously made mundane. The Maitlands' experience of the dead world is a government-like agency. The dead have jobs, and even Beetlejuice is subject to rules. There's a banal order even in the most extraordinary things. That's why Beetlejuice is, and will remain, one of the most weirdly comforting movies ever made. And there is that element of the Maitlands are so normal.
Yeah.
They're so, and I'm not going to say boring, that's like a negative word, but they're so mundane and happy in their mundanity.
They're just basically beige, aren't they?
They're beige and they're vanilla, and they are happily that way, and that's brilliant. And they're the dead people, whereas the alive, quote unquote, normal people in the film are mad, batshit, crazy, creepy, eerie, spooky, have a weird taste in home decor, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to know the Deetzes.
No, you wouldn't want to, but you'd be more than happy to live with the ghosts of Adam and Barbara. Yeah. And they're the normality that Lydia craves, and she's the one. And I think she is the heart of the film.
Undoubtedly.
She's the heart of this film.
It's her film. It's not Beetlejuice's film.
And this is why, you're right, and this is why I feel it shouldn't have been called Beetlejuice.
It's
Adam, Barbara and Lydia.
And Lydia's film.
And this is why I think Beetlejuice should not even be a character, and we should instead just have the two dead people who are parenting an alive gothic girl, and that would be a brilliant film.
You've always got to have some kind of danger element in there.
I know, but the danger is you might fail a maths test.
No, I wouldn't watch that.
And I understand that this makes a kind of that's why it makes the film, but yeah, that's where my line was drawn. I think I just find him too obnoxious to want to see him on screen, whereas I love all the other bits. And I love the 80s-ness of it.
But this is one of the good things about keeping him in such a small role within the movie.
Yeah.
You know, he is obnoxious. I do think if his role was expanded beyond the 17 minutes, it would have been too much.
Yeah.
I'd just not like the film.
I would love to have seen, okay, this is not going to happen, but like no Beetlejuice, but Juno being the kind of the comedy character. Juno having those extra 17 minutes of just being like at the end of a tether with all these dead people she's having to marshal around.
Well, there's a film.
It would, do you know what? I should write that.
So, next week, it's your turn to pick a film. You get to take back control.
Yay! Yeah, I'm very excited about next week's. It's a similarly, spooky is the wrong word, but a slightly eerie, slightly creepy vibe. So it fits the season.
And if people want to find more of you, where can they go?
So I'm at nickybond.com, or you can look for the Lisa McAuliffe stories online. How about you?
I'm on Toffees R Us on YouTube, or Phil Timon on TikTok.
So thanks for listening, and until next time, bye-bye.
See you later.